Hi, class. It's Dr. Lindner. Now that we spoke about all the different types of tissues, epithelial, connective, muscle, and nerve, what happens when some of these tissues get damaged? Can they heal? How do they heal? What's the process of healing? In order for anything to heal, we need inflammation. And inflammation has a bad rap. If you think of it, someone can have a cut and it's red and it's hot, and then someone says it's infected, it's inflamed, it's infected, right? It gets a bad rap, but that's not the case. So I really want my students to have a better understanding of inflammation and how it works. So the first sign of healing is inflammation. What's the first sign of healing? Inflammation. And when something is inflamed, there's redness, there's swelling, there's warmth, and there's pain. And there's reason for all of these things that take place. The end result of this entire repair process is regeneration. But things have to break down before they build up. So when there's an increase of pathogens or toxins or wastes, or there's an injury or a sprained ligament or a torn tendon or a splinter or a cut, right? Whatever the lesion is, when I say lesion, it just means any abnormality to the tissue. It's going to stimulate the release of mast cells. A mast cell is going to release histamine, heparin, and prostaglandins. Well, prostaglandins are going to signify pain, heparin is going to thin the blood, and histamine is going to vasodilate or dilate your blood vessels. So you have pain, you feel pain. Now you have heparin, which is a blood thinner, and dilated blood vessels. So now it looks red because there's more red blood cells. It's swollen because of all the blood that's in there, and blood is over 100 degrees temperature, so we have warmth. Okay? So this is normal physiology. There's going to be an increase in blood flow, an increase of pain, an increase in blood vessel permeability, all normal. This will increase the temperature. If there's more blood, it's hotter. More blood, more red blood cells. We're carrying oxygen. Oxygen to the mitochondria produces ATP or energy, and we need energy to heal. It's bringing nutrients to the area. We have phagocytic activity that can remove the toxins and the wastes and eventually regenerate. And then normal tissue is restored. So the next few slides that I go over is really going to help support this information. So the tissue responds to injury to help maintain homeostasis. There's going to be these two processes, inflammation and regeneration. So inflammation is the first response to any type of injury. And the signs and symptoms of inflammation, we said before, are swelling, redness, heat, and pain. We know the prostaglandins produce pain, and the heparin and the histamine are going to be involved in those three. The inflammatory process can be triggered by trauma, maybe some sort of physical injury, or even infections, the presence of some sort of harmful pathogen. The damaged cell from the cell membrane is going to release these chemical signals like prostaglandins, proteins, potassium ions. As the cell breaks down, lysosomes release enzymes that are going to destroy the injured cell and try and attack the surrounding tissue. When that happens, you start to get tissue destruction. It becomes necrotic. Necro means it turns black. Okay. Necrotic tissue and cellular debris accumulates in the wound, and sometimes it shows up as pus. When the pus is trapped in an enclosed area, they call it an abscess. And you remember The injury stimulating the mast cells, which release histamine, heparin, and prostaglandins. Histamine is your vasodilator. Heparin is your blood thinner. And prostaglandins are going to create pain. Prostaglandins are not just pain stimulators. They can increase fever. They can increase your temperature. Prostaglandins can produce mucus in the stomach. Prostaglandins can make smooth muscle contract of a woman's uterus. So prostaglandins have numerous functions. One of them happens to be pain. The dilation of the blood vessels increases blood circulation. It creates warmth and redness. It brings more nutrients and oxygen to the area and removes the waste products, all essential in healing. The plasma diffuses in the area, and that causes some swelling and pain. Then you have phagocytic activity of the white blood cells. Remember, the monocyte becomes a macrophage, and that's phagocytic. That's designed to clean up the area. When the injury or the infection is cleaned up, then the healing or regeneration begins. The process of regeneration, the fibrocytes move into the necrotic area, and they start to lay down new collagen fibers. And those collagen fibers mend and bind together and start to create a little bit of scar tissue. The new cells migrate into the area, which is very important. And mesenchymal cells are there. Remember, these are like stem cells, and they allow other cells and tissues to regenerate, but not all tissues can regenerate. Epithelium and connective tissue can regenerate pretty well, but cardiac cells and neurons, we know that they do not regenerate, or they just generate very, very poorly. And again, not all connective tissues can heal very well. We know that cartilage and ligaments, they have a poor blood supply, so it just takes a much, much longer time. So remember, mast cell activation, we have histamine production, heparin, and prostaglandins. Inflammation produces several familiar indications of injury, including swelling, redness, warmth, and pain. Inflammation may result from the presence of pathogens and some bacteria, right? So you get, as a result of these, prostaglandins create the pain, heparin and histamine, they're going to increase blood flow. The heparin creates the increased blood flow due to the thinning, whereas the histamine creates the blood vessel dilation. We're going to get increased temperature, increased oxygenation, increased phagocytosis, the removal of the waste products. All of these things happen, and it allows for regeneration or remodeling. The regeneration is the repair that occurs after the damaged tissue has been stabilized and the inflammation has subsided. Fibroblasts move into the area, laying down a collagenous, right, collagen framework known as scar tissue. And over time, the scar tissue becomes remodeled and gradually assumes the more normal appearance. So it just remodels itself. Over a period of hours or days, the cleanup process generally succeeds in eliminating the inflammatory stimulus. Pretty cool. Then you get normal tissue conditions are restored. We get regeneration. You get a healthy individual.